There's a
We're live, we're live. Yeah, she dances with the pink nails, guys. You know, it's always a good sign. Welcome, Sarah Cravens. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm so happy to see you and talk to you.
Absolutely. Welcome. It's really fun to have you. I haven't seen you in months.
Actually, it was the last time we did like a Zoom thing, right?
We've never met in person. We've only met on Zoom because we did a live panel for the Help Network, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, with Jeff B, who joins us.
Yeah.
Jeff Burns will join us at some point. He's always on here, which is a really nice thing. Guys, welcome to the chat. We have Booty Farts 22, the Diva Waifu, Dead Pulio, a bunch of great people. And if you don't know, Sarah does a ton of voice work, including Frost in Mortal Kombat, Power Girl in Injustice 2, Child Emperor, sounds creepy, we're going to ask about that, in One Punch Man, Valkyrie Hilder in God of War, and Deathstick in Star Wars Uprising, among many others. So I started acting as just a child who did theater and then wanted to do film and TV and all this stuff. And then I have, in the last 3 years, I've really hit voice work seriously. And I am just in awe of everybody I have on my Twitch channel because I cannot believe the amount of talent all over the world. But in this city, like LA people that do voice work are just like, my mind is blown.
And like the nicest people. It's the coolest community, nicest group of human beings, and like, which makes our job, another reason our job is like the greatest job in the world.
Absolutely. Everyone's really nice except that one guy that everybody knows about, but we don't talk about it. No, everyone's always like, which one? Yeah, it's just like and I know I'm an actor and I know I do voices, but like when I look at your resume, my mind is blown and I just go, how has she done so much? And it's not like she's an 80-year-old woman, you know, with this like crazy ass resume.
Kind. Oh my God.
So tell me, you're originally from the South, correct?
I am originally from Tennessee. So big time Southern girl from the sticks.
But your accent comes and goes. Sometimes you're like in it,
Oh yeah.
and other times you're like, nope, it just.
Yeah. It's, it gets real thick. If I like have gotten off the phone with like my mom, then I'm like real deep, like sometimes to the point that I'm not understandable to other human beings that aren't from the South, because we just smush a bunch of words together. And but yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, I think I go in and out of it based on like my mood.
It's amazing. So I have like just this like very generic Southern that I'll do for like random stuff, but I don't know if it's Texas or Tennessee or Kentucky. Like I really don't know. What can you walk me through some very slight differences that you know of that exist? I don't know. Is that a specialty of yours? Like
yeah, for sure. Because there's like a million. Like when people, I love this actually because it's people think like okay. Southern accent, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to do my generic, like whatever. When it's like, oh no,
what I do exactly.
Right. But it's like, I'm sure, like I do this for everything else. But then it's like, when you're from the South, you're like if it's like hill people that like live in the sticks and whatever. And then there's these real sweet ones that are like more like Georgia, more like high society. Then you got your real like white trash ones like my people, and then other ones that are just like just like mean and stupid, but funny. So there's like there's so many Southern, so that's my favorite. Whenever that like they ask for Southern, I'm like, what kind? And do you want 8 takes of this? Because we got a lot of different people that we could throw in here.
Absolutely. Is there like a specific Tennessee thing that you're like, oh, this is how we say water, wooder, wowder? I'm just making stuff up. But,
Oh no, that's a good question. I think. Let me think of what's so a very specific Tennessee thing is like we don't say like if a town has like ville at the end, it's not like I'm from like what most people would say Cookville, but it's like Vol, Cookville. Yeah, so it's like VULL, like any McMinnville, Cookville, Smithville.
Oh, but that's how they say Louisville, right?
Yeah. So that's a very Southern thing, like that. And if someone said like Cookville, like where I'm from, it wouldn't be weird. You wouldn't be like, oh, they're not Southern. But if someone said Cookville, then you're like, oh, they're definitely.
They know.
It's great because I in Fallout I get to play this amazing like just real like sticks Southern like Appalachian woman, and it was the best. The session was so fun because they were just like, you know what? This is what it says on the page, but like just say it how this woman would. And if it's a different word she would use, just roll with it. And it was awesome because they like let me be like, I don't think she'd say this or she'd pronounce it like this or whatever. And they just let me roll with it.
Yeah.
So cool to have that like collaboration with a team when they like, because they care so much about like authenticity of characters and they want them to feel real. And so I that was one that was super fun for me that they just let me roll with.
What's the name of this character in Fallout?
What's so cool about her? Her name's Carol Putnam, and the town I grew up in was in Putnam County, and Yes. So of course, I go in because like everything is, everything's code names. Like we don't know what we're working on until we get in there.
Never know. Yep.
Yeah. So then I find out about it, and they're like, "Okay, this is Carol Putnam," and I was like, "Oh, did you guys research me?" And they were like, "No, what?"
What are you talking about? Nut job.
I know, and I was like, "That's the county. I grew up Putnam County," and they were like, very cute, but no, we did not look up the county you were from and name your character that, Sarah. So, but
Sounds so good.
very cool. I was like, well, whoever came up with the names, they're very appropriate because that's very Southern, like that was my county. So perfect.
Nice. I have a question. What is your background? I'm digging it very much.
So my background, I very Cherokee. I'm very like.
Keep going. I meant your physical background, that art behind you.
I thought you meant like my family. I
want to know that too.
We're like Southern Indians, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, no, please tell me more. Tell me more about that Southern background.
I mean, that's it. We're Indian. I mean, obviously, like there's some like Euro, moving. Or I'm not like this, like white and blonde without some like European influence, but also I don't burn and I tan, and I'm the most thankful for my Indian heritage.
Oh my God, I love it.
I love that you ask my background, and I'm like, let me tell you about my heritage.
The funny thing is I do always ask that because I want to understand, like, what influences your voice acting, because I want to know if you do Native American accents, but I also was digging the art, and I'm like, it's fucking cool. I wonder if she's spray painted that. It looks like
I did. So, I'm a big DIYer. Like when I'm not working, I'm like, like my whole garage is like power tools, and I'm like woodworking, and I most of the things in my house in my backyard, like I've built most of them, or like, and this was like, whatever, this past year, we all know, it was like crazy. It was all like, you're just all over the place. And so, it was one day that it was like a particularly like rough one where I was just like, politically in the world, and like everything was just heavy. So I went out and like got some spray paint and like, effed up a canvas.
Nice. So it's a canvas that you spray painted outside, and now it's inside.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just like digging the gold. I think it's fantastic.
It was so fun. But yeah, it was a day that I needed to like work some emotions outside, and I did it with spray paint.
That's awesome. I have seen some of the really cool your pictures on Insta. Some of the woodwork you've done. Holy cow! You know what you're doing.
Oh, I love it. That's speaking of my heritage. My mom has always been like, she was always like the builder. Like she like built a deck on my aunt's house one weekend just because it was like, it would be nice to have a deck back here. So like, I think like we always have just like had that in our family, and then I just started doing it. So like, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't like taken any classes or anything, but I like will scratch out on a piece of paper like something I want to do and be like, this would make sense. And then I go to Lowe's and I come back and I'm like, let's see.
You go to Lowe's.
Yeah, and then I take my truck to Lowe's and fill it up and come back, and but then so years and years and years ago when I was like probably in like middle schools when my mom like built a deck on my aunt's house, and then like 2-3 years ago I built a deck on my house so I could be like her.
When I'm ready to build my deck, can you come out to my house and just help me figure it out?
I would love it. I will scratch some things on a piece of paper and I will try to explain them to you, but I'm like, I promise this will work. This will work. And this is
my God. I love it.
Yeah. But now it's awesome. It's sturdy and it's good.
It hasn't fallen yet, so that's a good sign.
No, it's in good shape.
Do you have those pics on your Insta? Can we search it later?
Oh, yeah. There's for sure like pictures of like, I think there were like videos of the like process of it
before and after. Yeah. Oh, super cool. Nice. Oh, yeah. So we have Sean, Mr. Wick, saying he's a fan of your work as Frost in Mortal Kombat. And then everyone is excited about Frost in Mortal Kombat and your work as Supergirl. But tell me about Frost and how this came about, because Mortal Kombat's a big deal.
Thank you. What a cool, I love her so much. I actually, this is great. It's one of my favorite, I don't know. I'm not I feel like there's like famous voice actors and then there's people that like work, there's people that like are just so well known. Like I'm not one of those people. Like I like to go to work and whatever, and I don't really like have like fans and stuff. Which like fine, it's great, but I got like a message from I don't get those often, but I got like a message from like someone who's like a fan of my work, which was really nice. And one of my favorites. It's the best thing ever. So it was like, but I don't like Frost because she's bitchy and she just wants to like murder people. And I was like, it's Mortal Kombat. Like that's what we do. We just murder. But I love it. And I was like, I never get like reached out to by people, but when I do, it was with someone being like, I really love your work, but I don't appreciate Frost. And I was like, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you for your honesty. I will take that in. Like, what are you going to do? Stop voicing Frost?
Yeah. So what is beautiful about Frost, and so like if I know you have like a mix of people that are on your channel that that watch, but what's really cool about this character in particular is she's kind of she's kind of connected to my very first job ever that I like did in the video game world. And so for anybody that is like watching that is like a voice actor and you're like starting out, just know that you have no idea. You never know that the little work that you're doing along the way it's all building to like big, like if you're watching everyone else and you're like everyone's getting these big characters and I'm just like not doing anything, like every little piece matters. So for Frost in particular, like what a dream. Like I was not like a big gamer, but my brother was, and like we played Mortal Kombat growing up. So like just to be, like to be a kid and play this and then like be in the franchise is amazing. And like what a cool character. But what is the coolest for especially anyone who is, a voice actor, and wanting to know that your work matters. I had been auditioning for games for years and years and years, and I know, like, every voice actor story. I've been doing commercials for a long time and some animation and whatever, and was always hearing people being like, oh, you have such a deep voice, like, you'd be great in games, you'd be great in games. And I'm like, well, great, but I never booked them. I'm never going to book one, whatever. And I had auditioned for years and years and years, and then one day I was just like, because I kept trying so hard to, like, figure out, like, what this is what they're looking for, and this is like whatever. And one day I just gave it all up, and I was like, I can't decide what someone else wants. I can go in and I can just be me, and so I'm going to go in and I'm going to do my thing, and I'm not going to book it anyway because I never book these things, and I'm not going to fix any mistakes. I'm just going to vomit all of this out, and that's what it's going to be. Yeah. And of course, that's the very first game that I ever booked, which ended up being Halo, which was
holy cow,
which was amazing. And I was just like, that's what you do. You go in and you don't try to figure anything out, and you're like, this is me, and this is like how I would do this. And if I'm right for this, great. And if somebody else is, then there's nothing else that I'm going to be able to do to show you that, like, because it's not my job, like it's someone else's job. So what's awesome, so that was Halo, and like,
what's your character in Halo?
I was like the female Spartan. It was like War Game. It was like Halo 5. And so I was like the voice of the female Spartan. So if you were like going through War Game shooting, like it was my voice, or I was yelling at you if you were playing a different character. So great, super fun, like fun battle experience, whatever. But so the studio was Warner Brothers. And then the director was Amanda Wyatt, who is one of my very best friends.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. And so then, like, cut to, I mean, 10 years later, over 10 years later, here comes like Mortal Kombat at Warner Brothers with Amanda Wyatt and another Dom is also directed this. But like my very, very first game, like very first booking in the video game world, years, like a decade later, I'm back with that same studio and same director and same team that I did Injustice with. And it was just like this really beautiful moment to be like, it all matters. It all matters. It all matters. Every little thing that you do, even if you don't know at the moment, like you're building all of this stuff to where that they're like, okay, we've known them, they've been in the game, like we know their work, like they can handle a character, like they can handle this responsibility. Yeah. And it's so cool because I'm like, it'd be cool no matter what, but I loved it even more because it was just like my very first studio that I did a game with and my very first director ends up being like one of my like people's favorite characters of mine was with that same team.
What does Frost sound like?
She's like really gruff and deep and crusty and mad all the time. She's just...
How do you not hurt your voice doing that? That's amazing.
You know, here's another thing for people. I love that I'm like, oh, we're talking about voice. I also, I am a teacher. I've been a teacher my whole life. And everything is like this, ooh, teachable moment, whatever.
Do it.
So here's another thing. So when I was like growing up, I've always had a deep voice and like, that ain't cool as a kid. Like, it wasn't then when we were just like super, super like bully central. Like, we grew up with like the 80s and 90s movies of like bullies. And so like as a girl who like wants to be liked by people, you know, to have like a deep voice, like something that people can make fun of is like not a cool thing. But then, it's awesome now because I'm like, I make my entire living out of this deep voice that I got made fun of, like as a kid. And so like, so great. Like if there's something that makes you so specific and stand out so much, it's your power. It's the greatest. So that's, I think that I end up, a lot of my characters are really like deep voiced because I just have a deep voice.
Yeah,
it's like
it's like those people that talk like this, and you're like, oh my god, that girl's weird, and then all of a sudden, like they book a shit ton of anime, and that's what they live off of. You just never know, you know.
Like take it to the bank, like whatever you have that is like your thing. That if there's something so specific that someone's making fun of you about it, take it to the bank, y'all.
Think about it and turn it around. Exactly. So the chat's going wild over Frost. Someone's saying, "Oh, I have to give Frost a second chance now that I know Sarah voices Frost." Thank you, Jai Indigo. And then there's
second chance.
Yeah, and then they're like, hashtag give Frost a chance. That's so cool. Yay. And also that you just like, you know, showed me how she sounds is kind of incredible. I have a deep voice as well. But I go down here and I do my smoker, you know, but the way you did.
I love those. Well, I wish we could play these two old smoking ladies.
Oh my god, you see, mine's a Jewish New Yorker. What if her best friend is from the South, you know?
Best friend is a farmer, and they just get along.
And I get away from the big city to come and visit you, and you give me spiked lemonade.
We like our grandparents, like we always summered together. Whatever, we were shipped off to each other's family's house in the summer.
My God, I love it. So there is a Booty Farts 22 is wondering if you still teach. What's the deal with your teaching? How can we get in touch with? How did this all come about? What do you teach? You do demos? Tell me more.
Yes. First off, let me acknowledge. Thank you to all of you Give Frost a Chancers out there. Give Frost a chance. And granted, that person I told you about earlier, they're not wrong. Like I am just out to kill people, but I have really fun deaths. Like. you can stab like like an icicle through eyeballs. So I'm just saying, like, it's real fun. So hashtag yes, give Frost a chance. So I love I love teaching. I've always felt like whatever I've been able to do and whatever I've been able to accomplish, like, if there's any way that I can make someone else's journey easier, like, why not? Because I don't find. I don't look at voiceover as, like, of course, like, we're actors, like, this is job, it's competitive, but I don't look at my fellow voice actors as, like, my competition. Like, you guys are my teammates. Like, we are on this journey together. We're in these games together. We're way more like teammates, and if all of us are booking the things that are right for us and just, like, then that's what it's all about. Then like, that's the most fun. So I love doing that and being like, man, I wasted all this time trying this and this and this and this, and I wish someone had told me this then. So so I love teaching. I will say that, like, I mostly teach commercial, because one thing that is, like, with voiceover, it's very easy to be, like, a fan of a character, like animation, video games, anime, whatever. Commercials are wonderful work for voice actors. Like, it's the best. It keeps, I always joke, like, characters in video games don't buy you houses, but a commercial does,
Exactly. Yes.
So, yes. So I love teaching commercial because, and it's also, like, daily work that's just, like, unseen.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like, we can audition for 10 commercials a day, and then maybe have, like, one big video game come through, like, way less frequently. So, so that's what I do a lot of teaching in, because I want, if you want to be able to do this full time, you have to work a lot in a lot of different areas. So I have a wonderful studio called Ace Studios, ACE Studios, and the website is acestudiosla.com. The owner of that studio is a wonderful dude, friend of mine named Brett, and it was an on-camera, like, educational facility, and he brought me on to, like, run the voiceover department. And so basically, the voiceover department at Ace Studios is literally just me being, and I had one request when Brett was like, come over and do this, like, teach classes and get other people to come and teach and workshops, like, whatever you want to do. And I was like, great. I don't want to do anything that I've ever, like, seen before. Like, I don't want to do these, like, it's a 6-week class and this is the whatever, because I was like, I don't feel like that's the way our business moves anymore. Yeah. That I was like, I want to do these one-off, like, come take this, like, come take this class, like, 2-3 hour class in, like, intensive in commercials. Come take this in animation, whatever. So
it's just like a 1-3 hour class. It's really intense.
Yeah, so it's nice. Like intense one-offs, and then I bring other people in to, like, be guest directors and be like, okay, here, we're gonna send this out like it's an audition, and turn this MP3 back into me, and we'll listen to it, and then we'll review it in class and let you do a redirect or whatever, and just know that, like, this is what an audition is like. You're turning it around, you're sending the MP. Anyway, so Ace Studios, the voiceover department, is all, basically, it's just everything I wish I had when I was starting out, and so, like, come steal all the knowledge from all of these people, because it will make you better, and I love it. I'm in all, because I run it, I'm in all the classes, and it's awesome. It, like, reminds me, a lot of times I've, like, just cranked out, because we get lazy, even those of us who, like, work a lot, like, we get lazy, and so, I'll record something, and then after class be like, I gotta go redo that, because I just, like, I did not. I didn't listen to any of my notes that I gave anyone else, and so let me go do this and like put just a hair more focus on it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny. We audition all the time. We start forgetting like the tricks of the trade. I sent an audition recently to Sissy Jones. I'm like, lady, could you give me some notes on this? I really want to book this one, and I need another ear. And she's like, you need to smile more, and you need to this, and I'm like, oh my god, right? And it's such silly stuff, but then it makes a difference, you know?
It does, and like, don't be afraid to like ask someone to like be a second set of ears, or don't be afraid to coach on something. Like, speaking of Amanda, I literally was just having this conversation with her last night. I was like, listen, I've got like, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm like kind of out of my depth and like really stressed at the moment. And I was like, I need you to listen to some things, because I'm not in the game right now. Like, my head's not in the game, and I need someone to be like, hey, that's crap. Don't send that in. You need to go back and do it. You know?
Yeah.
And it's not, and like, I coach other people, and I coach other people that end up booking the job, you know? So like, even if this is like a talent of yours, there's nothing wrong with you for like asking help from someone else.
Yeah.
We all need like an outside perspective every now and then.
Absolutely.
Did I answer the questions?
Yeah. No, I think that there are definitely some people in here that are interested in voice acting. So they're already checking out your site, which is exciting. To take class and stuff. Jeff Burns is in the house.
Oh, hey, Burnsy.
Yeah, he says he literally got the Smile More direction on an audition recently. Absolutely. There's money where your mouth is. What's going on, Sean? Sean says, I have this book I still have from the voice acting class called There's Money Where Your Mouth Is, which is a book about basics of voice acting. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And I think that, like, even if we're working a ton, sometimes we just, we forget a little bit of, like, how to make it a little more zingy or a little more special. And,
exactly. That the care that I take into like coaching someone else, or that I'm like critically listening to what they're doing to like better that. You get lazy, life happens, and then you go and you're just like, whatever, you go through the motions and you crank it out, and are you able after a while, can you do that better than you used to? Yeah, like you're way more in the zone, but still like you still need help every now and then.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Child Emperor in One Punch Man. We have a lot of One Punch Man fans here. Child Emperor sounds a little bit like who's the kid from Game of Thrones? That stupid king, Joffrey.
Oh, Joffrey.
Like, am I wrong?
So yes, which is hilarious. I love that was like the preface, because anyone who like is the One Punch Man fan and like knows Child Emperor. So let me tell you, which I love that like your picture is Joffrey. Child Emperor is like this like little just genius kid who wears a backpack and holds a lollipop all the time, and he's just the smartest kid in the room. He's adorable, and he's a genius. And so when all the leaders and all the greatest minds come together, they bring this little kid in, just like, can we wrap this up, because I gotta go back to cram school. And like, he's just sitting there licking his lollipop, and they're all like fighting, trying to figure something out. And then he just is like, probably do this. Okay, I'm going to school. And then, but he like solves everything, because he's just like this tiny, adorable genius.
Oh my God.
So I love that. Thank you, all you people that love Child Emperor. I love him too. Like, what a delightful human being, and what an honor to like play such a cool kid. Thank you.
And it's a really fun show.
For trusting me with that character.
It's just a deceiving name, because you're like, is he like sending people to their death?
Exactly. But that's what's so great, is because they talk about before you even meet Child Emperor, then everyone's like talking about this, and that's all that they say. Like they're just like, oh, Child Emperor this, and we've got to get in touch with Child Emperor, and you're picturing that, and then this like little kid with a bowl cut and a backpack walks in, and it's a beautiful, like, introduction to a character because it's nothing you would have ever like pictured. But then he just like walks in with his backpack and solves it.
God, oh my God. So how do you, you do a lot of anime. What's the secret to auditioning for anime? It's like a secret society.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I don't know the secret. I want to talk to people that know the secret to anime. I here, all I can do, and this is why I love teaching too, and this is because I am not one of those people who thinks that I have the answers to anything. I just can tell you like what has worked for me and like how I do things and whatever. I don't know the secret to anime. I would love to do more of it. I just don't, you know.
Yeah.
I have just found that like when it's the right character for me, it that's just what it is. The first, I don't know if anyone watching ever watched the show Erased, but oh my goodness, what a dream! That was like my first anime, and it's this amazing mystery, like fantastic show, and I play the mom of the main character that, and she's the coolest mom in the entire world, and so she's just like so sassy and funny and good. Like she's the mom that everybody like wants to have and laugh with and go hang out at their so that was like, you know, I don't even know how that happened. Like I was like requested to audition for it, and I didn't know what I was doing because I had never done anime before, but I was just like, oh, she's rad, like this is how I would play her.
Yeah.
And then I booked it, and I remember going in, and they were like, you know, because anime's huge.
It's huge. Yeah.
There's a million shows going all the time, and I remember like someone telling me when I came in to report it, they were like, oh, this is your first one? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, man, great one, because there's some crazy ones out there. And like this is it's an it is an amazing show. I love mysteries. Like I read like you know, like murder mysteries all the time.
Yeah.
So the show was a murder mystery, and oh, this is a cool thing. If anyone watched that show, what was great about it is that they encouraged us. So the mystery unfolds through the entire season, and obviously, like we could watch the we could watch the like Japanese version, but they encouraged all of us not to because they wanted our performances not to reflect. They didn't want to tip anything off, and they wanted us to all of our lines to be what they would have been in that moment without having the knowledge of like who did this.
Yeah.
And so it was so cool. So it was like every episode we recorded, it was like, oh, that's what's happening, and this person is maybe in charge. Like what? It was awesome. And then it was like, you know, we get to the end and find out what happens, and it was just like I felt like I got to learn it with like the viewers, and so like that's a cool for me. That was cool because I feel like when you watch stuff, you don't always like know those decisions made, and I thought that was a really cool production decision.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what was happening.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And that's smart too, because we even if we don't want to imitate a performance, once we hear it, it's kind of hard to get out of our brain, you know. So that was smart. So I have some questions here from the chat. They are digging. A lot of people have seen Erased. Oh my gosh, she's such a cool mom. And then you got to work with Alex, who's one of the best directors out there.
Yes. Thank you, Alex, for directing my first anime. Thank you.
Yeah. I lost the question, but it's about Emmy Yox, who started commenting on the chat for the first time this stream. Wants to know how you knew you wanted to become a voice actor, and how did you choose this career path? And I am curious, like as a kid, you obviously were creative, and you had this you had voices inside of you without sounding crazy. But what was it that you said? Oh, I think I could start auditioning for this, or was it one of those things where you kind of you're doing something else and then you fall into it? Like what's
Oh yeah, I had no idea. You guys, I grew up in the sticks in Tennessee. Like I didn't know this was a job. And to be fair, back then, I know I look so young, but I'm not. But we didn't have like when I was growing up, like we didn't have celebrities that were in animation. It was all just this like unknown thing. So voiceover wasn't like this job that was like talked about all the time that I feel like it's talked about now. So I didn't know it all. And I moved to Los Angeles after I graduated college. And then, but I didn't go to like an acting school. I went to University of Tennessee, go Vols. I loved it. But like,
What did you study?
I studied, communications, so I was a broadcasting major. But I was just, so that made sense but it was like, I didn't know. So if anybody out there is like, high school, college, and you're like, I don't know what I want to do, it's okay. I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I was doing is like drinking at football games on the weekends. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, I know I can I knew I could talk. And so I was like, I could get through this major, and I'm not going to have to work really hard because I know I could like talk my way out of it, which was like what I thought broadcasting was, whatever. Yeah. So I have a broadcasting degree, and then I moved to Los Angeles because I still was like, well, I don't want to work at a news station. I just didn't. I knew that's not what I wanted to do. So I moved out here, and I moved to LA, and I started doing comedy. And then I was like, I love it. And then I was doing on-camera stuff. So I was doing a lot of like on-camera commercial stuff and comedy stuff. And then I had like an agent that was just like, hey, if you ever thought about doing voiceover, because like improvisers tend to be really good at voiceover. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know what I'm doing. Sure. Yeah, bring it. I was just like, I just moved here, sure. Like, is that a cool job? And then, so I was like, very, very lucky. And that I think what the hardest part in a lot of people's careers is like getting an agent. And that was just like, that was the easiest part of mine. But I will say that like, I didn't take it for granted. And as soon as it was like, as soon as I got an agent, like very soon after I moved out here, I was like, well, great. I'm not going to, I see this as the opportunity that it is. So like I went and took classes and I got to know what I was doing, because I was like, this is the most fun I've ever had. Like all the fun things I get to do in comedy and all the things I get to do on stage and on camera. Like I get to just do this in front of a microphone, and I get to play all these things that they would never cast me for on camera. Like my range gets to be so much bigger, and I get to play all these characters that I would never be considered for on camera. So yeah, I fell in love with it, and then I stopped. Like occasionally I will do an on camera thing, but I don't pursue it anymore, but like I have some like, people that I've worked with before that will reach out and be like, I've got this job, will you come do it? Yeah. Like, we do work when we get asked to. Yeah. But yeah, I started doing voiceover.
What was the first, I know Halo was your first game, but what was the first VO gig, even if it paid like $20, like what was it?
My very first voiceover gig was a Diet Dr. Pepper commercial, where I was the voice of an animated brownie. And yes, I know. So it was this campaign where it was like talking about like Diet Dr. Pepper is like dessert. So there were all these like animated desserts, and I was the brownie, and I just said, I'm nuts about you, Diet Dr. Pepper. And I was a little brownie with nuts in it. And that's all I said.
Oh my God! That's the best, dude. What a great gig. It's not like this boring commercial thing. It's like, I'm a brownie.
It was awesome. And I will say, because it was all these different desserts, there was probably, I don't know, 8 of us, like 8 different like actors that got cast for like, cherry pie, like all of these different things. So I go in to like record it, and I kid you not, I walked in, and I just see all these like recognizable people, and I check in, and I'm like, I think I have a Diet Dr. Pepper, and I'm just like young, I've never worked before, and I see all these like recognizable people, and I kid you not, I turned around, walked out of the studio, and I called my agent. I was like, I think there's a mistake. I don't think I booked this. I saw the other people that did this, and like, I'm definitely not in this group. And they were like, turn around, walk back in. You did book this. You are a part of this group. And
You are a brownie.
yes. And I will say, which I hope this is everyone's experience in voiceover, those people, like, couldn't have been nicer and more welcoming to me. And like during the session, like it came out that it was like, because they all knew each other, and they were like, who are you, kid? And I was like, I'm new, this is my first job ever, I don't know what I'm doing. And every single one of them were like, welcome to the team, kid, this won't be your last.
Oh my God!
And it was awesome. It was awesome because I was terrified, because not only was it my first job, but I was like in with all these greats, and and they were so welcoming, and were just like, you this isn't it for you. This is your first one, and we'll see you a bunch of other times. Like, congratulations, welcome.
Yeah. It is a really beautiful community. And another one of the comments from Emmy Ox is, I definitely think voice actors are more popular now. There's lots of voice actors I would love to meet rather than normal actors, on-camera actors. But and more comments have been like, yes, you know, voice acting, sometimes you mentioned not having a lot of fans, but like, I think that, and that's why I do this Twitch live stream. Like, I feel like, you know, voice actors do such amazing work that goes unrecognized, you know? And I don't know if you recently saw, they announced Space Jam on Twitter.
Yes!
Did you see what happened?
No.
They announced.
I'm not a big Twitterer, but like.
No, it's okay. WB announced Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, and Zendaya as the voice of blah, blah, blah Bunny. And everyone's like, how could you not credit the voice actors? Who the heck cares about Zendaya? Where's Eric Bauza? Where's Bob Bergen? Where's Fred Bergman?
Oh, that's amazing.
Twitter went nuts. And I was like, that's exactly what needs to happen. Because the lovers of these characters know who voiced them. And Zendaya is amazing, but she does not need this frickin' shout out, while the others need that credit.
And
you know?
Yeah, like Jeff Bergman's Bugs Bunny we should hear his name with Bugs Bunny. We should hear Bowser's name with like everything. Bowser does everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like Bob Bergen, we should hear him with Porky Pig. And thank you, Twitterverse.
Yes, it was really cool. It was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because then somebody photoshopped. They did the exact same Photoshop that Zendaya got for their names, and then remade it. And I retweeted that. I'm like, this is what needs to have been tweeted.
Yes, it should have been done. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
No, so anyway, so that is a really beautiful thing. But let's talk about Power Girl, because somebody came on the Twitch and they were like, have you talked about it yet? And we haven't really delved into it, so let's do it. How did this come about? How did you get inspired for this voice? You know, sometimes we see auditions and we just think that it comes to us. Sometimes we work it.
So this is another one. You guys, for me, I do me. In everything, it's just like I find like how I can do this. I didn't know what it was. It was codenamed. But what I love about Power Girl is she's so funny, and Sean Kittleson like wrote the best lines for her. She's so witty and quippy, and I just resonated with that because I had always, like, all I had done is like comedy. And so she's not very different. Like, if you listen to her, like, she's not very different than my normal voice. It's just like, but she's funny. She just makes fun of people. And it's like every line that she does is like she's rolling her eyes and shrugging her shoulders. Like, you know, she's like, okay, so you think you're going to take on Power Girl. Cool. Okay. Good try. Bye. You know, like, she's just
love it.
She's very dismissive of everybody, and like so I loved it. And then so that was just, and then so I was introduced to the NetherRealm team with Injustice, and then they hired me for Frost in Mortal Kombat. So Frost probably wouldn't have happened without Power Girl, but I met that team, and then they were like, and it was very cute, because when I went in for Mortal Kombat, and like met the team and everything, they were like, you know, when we were like writing her, like we had like your mannerisms in mind and your like delivery in mind for her, which is like the greatest compliment like an actor can ever get. Of just like, after we met you on this, like they're already writing this other game, and they were just like, you know, we just like your vibe was in our head with her the whole time. So we obviously had to get you in, and you couldn't know about it. We had to get you in and like hear what you would do with this character, but like you were in our heads, and I was just like, what?
Yeah, you're like, oh my god, absolutely.
Thank you. Oh my god, Power Girl fans, thank you so much.
Well, they're saying that you look like Frost a little bit and like Power Girl.
Oh, thank you. I have never been. We had talked to Carolina and I like talked about this like a little bit before we got on, but like I'm not a big. I've not ever been a big like conventioner, but like. I'd cosplay as them. Like I would do it. Like I would, cause they're rad. They're just these like real cool girls, and I feel like I just need to put some blue in my hair. But this is kind of like Power Girl hair, right? Like
yes,
pretty Power Girl. Yeah.
Look, cons can be a strange thing, and cons can be incredibly fun. And I never thought I would cosplay in my life, and I've done it 4 times. It's really freaking fun.
Oh, fun! I've never done it, but you guys hold me to it. I'd do Power Girl or Frost. Like they're real.
Especially if you're the voice of them, it's kind of like extra special. So
yeah,
just think about it.
Just throw it in there. Yes.
So for the God of War fans, how did for me it's interesting like how you book it and then what it turns into. Like, did you know what the hell God of War was?
No, and let me tell you, this will be for every actor and everyone else that is just like, do your thing. That's what it is. So one of my favorite stories ever of booking a role is God of War. You guys know who it's the game of the year. It's huge. Maybe the most under-wraps game I have ever been a part of. So much so, there's no direction for the copy. There's no name of the character. There's no signs of anything. It's just like random copy on a page. And again, no direction. So you don't know what to do with it. So I don't know anything. They don't give you background on the game or anything because they don't want people to figure out it's God of War. Like you just, there was nothing. So I get it. And again, old school comedian here. I'm like, whatever. I don't know what this is. It could be anything, but it would make me laugh. It would make me laugh to play this. It's very like, a very, like intense dialogue. But I was like, or monologue. It wasn't dialogue with anybody. It was monologue. And I was like, it'd make me laugh to play this as like a stand-up. Like that I was doing a routine.
Oh my God, that's a brilliant take. I never would have thought of that.
Oh, so this very intense monologue. I do it like I'm like doing a like yuck routine. And I'm not, you know, and I'm invested in it. So it's very, I'm committed, and that's the difference. Like you can make any choice, and as long as you're committed, great.
Yeah.
So I love it because. So
give me an example though, because I'm understanding, but I know you don't have the monologue in front of you, but like paraphrase.
So if it was just something like, you know, my fellow people, like, I don't know, but it would be like, yeah, my fellow people, yeah, so, how you guys feeling about getting killed out there today? Not good, right? Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Okay. You know, and then, so all of you who have played God of War, Elder is like, Valhalla awaits, like, whatever. This is, like, she's a Valkyrie, and she's just, like, scary, whatever, like they're very hard to kill, and they're brutal, and so what's amazing is I'm it's nowhere near that. I'm not even like deep voiced in it, in the audition, but then I go in and they were like, anybody that would have like the balls to do that in an audition, we know we can direct to do anything. They were like, so don't do anything that you did in your audition. Just go in there. Now we're going to give you backstory on who your character is and just do that deep voice of yours. Like, that's it.
Yes.
So the job often is easier than the audition. The audition, like, we're making all these choices and throwing stuff at the wall, and then, but if you don't make big choices and you're not bold and you're not like committed to them, then they can't trust that you would do it.
Yeah. I had a voice session yesterday where I kept like going really big, and I was like, nah, 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 nah. They're like, okay, let's bring it to a 5. You're at a 10. And I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry. They're like, no. Like, pulling you back is easy. When I have to pull performances out of actors, we hate it. And I always hear the same. So it is good to just like go balls to the wall, like you said, and then they can go, oh, she got that, she can do this, you know?
But we're, as actors, you know, like often you're going to look and you're going to be like, what? I don't know what to do with this. They didn't give me anything. Well, do something. Make a choice. And they were like, we knew we didn't give you anything. We couldn't give you anything. How would you know how to do this? But you made a choice. You didn't just read the monologue that we gave you, you know?
Yeah, because then it's boring. And for film and TV, it's the same. It's funny because sometimes I'll watch, like, who got cast, and I'll see the scene, and I'm like, oh, that was so simple in the actual TV show. But for an audition, you can't just be simple because they might not want. You got to, like, show them a little more, and then they can pull it down, and, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Strong, bold choices.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite characters that's just like totally against type for like your southernness or your typical like low voice? You know, what's one of those that you're like, oh man, if she was a series regular, like if they had a spin off on her or them, you know, what would it be?
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good. That's really, really good. I don't play, I have to look at like what the against type was. I get hired a lot, as type. Like, no,
and that's great. I guess like sometimes it's like, there's this one thing I did and it worked really well and I didn't expect it to, or, you know.
Yeah. You know, I do think like I play, I'm like a very like pleasant person, and I play a lot of main characters. Like, so that's really fun for me. But I always did that too, like on, like as like a kid growing up in theater. Like I was always like, I wasn't Cinderella. I was the evil stepmother. You know, like I was always.
Those are more fun though. F Cinderella.
They're so fun. So I'm trying to think of like, there is. You know what's so hard about this is like, everybody knows now with like, you know, it's like years for stuff to come out. So the stuff that's out right now, like, is not really in your head. It's like the stuff that's working on now. And there's something that I'm working on now that I've been working on for a while that is like one of my most favorite. It's another one of those where they just kind of let me go and we're like, you do it. Like, make the jokes you want to make and say it how you want to say it and whatever, and it's not Southern, but they're just like, they're letting it's a gift when you get to play so much, and so that one has been really exciting, and then I can't wait because it's so. It was so freeing. Like every session is so freeing that you know. I recently,
sometimes I get called in for Cartoon Network to just do like, I always forget, incidentals.
Yes, you're the best.
Yeah. And this one was just a character who had to like sing to herself. And, you know, I'm like, and they're like, okay, no, like she's singing to herself and she really believes nobody can hear her. So she's like going out there. And I'm like, and like, I'm breaking a sweat, and they're like, oh my God, we love it, keep going. Yeah. And it's just like, sometimes you have to like let it rip in the craziest way, and never in my insane mind would I have thought that this character exists inside of me, but somehow it came out.
Those are the best. Like, I like incidentals. Like, I love it. I do the same. There's like a couple like Cartoon Network shows that I do a lot of the incidentals on, and those are the most fun because you're not it's not like you're not creating a character that's sustainable. You're creating a character that's going to pop in with 1 to 3 lines, and then they disappear. So like they get to be as wild and ridiculous as possible. Yes. And yeah.
Yes. And that's true. One of the comments is Carolina probably sings like that at home all the time. I do. In fact, my sister's like, dude, what the hell are you singing? Like, that's not even a song. And I'm like, I know, but someday it's going to be in a cartoon. You know, so we do have to be a little nutty at home to like, you know. Oh my God, it's 1 o'clock. Sarah, you were so much fun. I didn't even realize time has flown.
You're the most fun. We gotta hang out. I feel like it's been 10 minutes.
Let's get drinks, man. Where can people find you on the socials? What would you like to close with? A nugget of advice, words of wisdom, something exciting you want to tell the chat?
Yeah.
They've been loving all your characters and all of everything. They want to take class. Can they reach out to you on Instagram DMs?
Yes. So best way to get me, go to my website, saracravens.com. Go to my website and there's like a contact form there. I will get those. Like I am not the best on social media, I will tell you, but send me something because I will get around to it. I'm at that so cravens on all social stuff. Yes, classes at Ace Studios LA, and thank you. I apologize for I get like real wordy and I go on.
I have enjoyed your wordiness. Please do not apologize.
So yes, reach out to me. This was so lovely, and my word of
you produce demos, correct?
Oh yes,
Jeff is letting everybody know. Yeah.
Yes, I do produce demos. So holler at me like what you're like looking to do, and I coach auditions and teach and
Booty Farts 22 is taking copious notes because she will one day need a demo. Yes.
Good, I love it. Yes, here's my what I want everyone to leave on. Do not be afraid of failure. If you're scared of doing like an audition wrong that you won't get it, you've already beat yourself out of it. When you are fearless going into something and you're like, I go into auditions, like I would rather them be like, what? And I would rather piss them off listening to me that they were like, she did something so ridiculous, than them be like, she did nothing. Like 9 times out of 10, you're going to book the role because you were like bold and you made a choice. And I'm willing to lose a job to book the job. And so.
Yes. Yeah. And if you lose that job, you might book another because they go, gee, that was totally wrong for this character, but for this one, my God.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like, and that happens more than not. Like, a lot of times what ends up being your big thing that you booked is because you didn't book another thing because you weren't right for that, but your audition for that was like, we're remembering her for this thing. Yeah. So that's it. Fail big.
Yes. Fail big, guys. Danny has put your link in the chat, your Insta and your website. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Danny, for everything you do. Maisie Grobe on Twitch. I want to thank one subscriber today. If you would like to help me in a funny voice, Toronto Snorlax. Thank you very much. And you go, thank you, Toronto Snorlax, or whatever.
Thank you, Toronto Snorlax. We really appreciate you being here today.
We do. We appreciate you very much. Guys, if you Google her name, you can find her Twitter. It's really easy. Google is the best tool on the planet. Sarah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I'm so honored. I don't do like appearances and stuff. Like I'm not one of those like famous voice actors, so I appreciate this. This was very fun. Thank you for asking.
Yes, and so inspiring. So guys, go out there and be the yous that you want to be, because that's what we get made fun of is what we then make money off of. Hello, people. Absolutely. Guys, in the chat, thank you for joining us. Keep booming and booping.
Yes.